Humans' brain have shrunk 13% over the last 10,000 years. That's a real statistic. Okay, the first thing I want to talk about is something called the Google effect. The Google effect is when you Google something and rely on that information rather than using cognitive skill to actually process something. And it's not necessarily a bad thing unless you're using it poorly, which most people are. The more information that becomes available, the easier it's going to be just to Google something and just not process it at all and just move on. And that brings me into my first point of memory is useless. And it kind of has been for a while. Since the 90s, you've been able to Google something and just get an answer from an article, and that's it. That's it. But now, when you Google something, you get an AI overview of what actually is happening. And this is bad because people are going to use that as an excuse not to learn. In fact, you can see that happening in schools, high schools, colleges, whatever type of school you're talking about. Kids aren't going to be using their memory anymore. They're just going to find a way to Google. And I know schools are going to try to get around this, but you're not going to stop the kid from cheating. That's the fact, especially with how easy it is. When I was in my senior year, everybody used AI. It was the easiest thing. You just told this thing, write me an essay. And you didn't have to think. You didn't have to learn. And that's a problem. There's a few things that schools should be teaching instead of just a memory test. As of right now, high school is a memory test. You go in, you try your best to remember something, you get tested on how well you can remember those things, and then you get a grade on if you have a good memory or if you don't. What they need to be teaching, the main thing, is critical thinking. If teachers don't teach critical thinking, nobody's going to be able to critical think. Critical thinking includes a ton of things like relationship skills, conflict resolution, and debating. Like, I should be able to sit down and have a conversation with nearly anybody, should be anybody, and not have a rage-induced argument. It should be a debate where we're relaying information that we both know, that we both have a memory of, and can then teach and try to share what we know. Instead, what you get is two idiots talking that just start arguing and spitting dumb shit that doesn't matter to anybody. That's not what you want. You want to be able to change that person's mind or change the people that are listening to you mind. You should be self-aware and understand what you know. If you understand that you know nothing, then don't debate about that topic. It's as simple as that. Until you educate yourself and learn about the topic you want to debate. That's critical thinking. Critical thinking is understanding how well you can process something. I could never process rocket science. I'm not going to try because I know that is something that I'm not, for one, interested in, and two, something that I can't do. Therefore, I'm not going to go out of my way to find a debate and debate about rocket science to somebody that probably knows more than me. And maybe they don't, but I'm still not going to try to debate it because that would be useless and a waste of time. And that is 95% of the debates you see online, where either you're hushing somebody and not letting them speak, you're talking about something you know nothing about, or you're just being useless. Like, there's no need for your information to be there because it's not real information. What they call this is cognitive offloading. When you don't take the time to process something and learn something new, then you're going to cognitive offload. You're going to spend the time to Google it, not really learn it, and write down your answer. Is that necessarily a bad thing? To offload instead of actually taking time to research a topic? No. If you don't want to learn about the topic, you don't want to learn about the topic. I have no interest in learning college-level algebra. If I have an algebra question that comes up, I'm going to Google it. I'm going to find my answer. I have no need to learn that. We'll get more to that later, because that is somebody's passion, to learn algebra. Even if that's not my passion, somebody out there is going to take the time to actually learn how to do this. When it becomes something bad is when it starts becoming everybody's going to cognitive offload for everything. If you want to learn something and you're just going to Google it and then say you know something, that's not knowing something. Tell me where you got that information from. Is it a trusted source? Because AI, you can't just say that's a trusted source. It can take from Wikipedia for all we know. For example, there's going to be about 4 or 5 sources in the description of this video of what I learned in the sites that I used, how I'm able to relay that in a different form and not just copy and paste or say identically what those websites say. But this all comes back to the Google effect. AI took over the Google effect. You Google something, you get an AI overview. It's what happens. 3 systems of the brain. This guy named Daniel Kahneman, I don't know if that's how you pronounce his last name. It's probably not. I'm dyslexic and can't read. He came up with 2 systems of the brain, and there was intuition and reasoning. Intuition is exactly how it sounds. You're going to just use a quick instinct, and that's what your information is coming from, and that's one great way to know things. That's a test of the memory. How well you know things is how well you can just infer something. Reasoning is how you're going to problem solve it. You're going to come up with a reason why somebody would do this, or a reason on why somebody wouldn't do this, stuff like that. And those were the 2 systems of the brain. But if you caught it, I said there was 3, because then you get into system 0. System 0 is AI substance. You're not going to use your intuition. You're not going to use your reasoning. You're just going to Google. System 0 is just the external use of AI in a real world and substitute for your brain. You're not actually going to be thinking or reasoning or inferring. You're just going to be AIing and Googling, and you're going to use it instead of your brain. And you might be thinking, how does this have anything to do with the downfall of the human race? If we can't learn how to use AI, there is a huge problem. The first problem being we will no longer have an education, and if everybody's just going to go and analyze what AI says instead of actually knowing things, 10,000 years from down the line, our brains might shrink another 50%. So there's 3 principles of using AI and using it correctly and cognitive thinking from it. Because if we want to evolve, we're going to use AI. That's the baseline of it. AI is not going anywhere. That is the future of our society. This is how you should be using AI. AI isn't going anywhere. So there's a way to use it, and there's a correct way and an incorrect way. I'm going to start with the incorrect way. If you open your phone and you Google something, you don't think about it, you just trust exactly what it tells you, you're using it the wrong way. That's not how AI works. You should Google it. What do you really want to learn? What's something that's awesome to you that would be super cool to know about? That's what you're going to AI generate. You're going to generate that, and you're going to think about it. And then you're going to respond to it. You're going to use your intuition, if that sounds correct. Use your human reasoning, human meaning of what that means, and actually think about what it's telling you and be able to rephrase it and understand it. And then you're going to use your responsibility. If it's telling you something that's incorrect, it's probably incorrect. AI is a bias. That's a fact. You can Google it. I put an article by a university that did a study on how AI is biased. Whoever made your AI that you're using, there's going to be a bias to their reasoning. It's not non-biased. There's 2 different biases. There's an explicit bias where it's just generally going to tell you it's an opinion, or there's an implicit bias where it's not going to tell you, it's going to try to make you think that. And these are real studies that have been done. You can, again, look in the description. If you ask AI a bias question, it's going to give you an answer, and it might tell you first, hey, this is a biased question. Are you sure you want me to answer this? But whatever, and you get your answer, and you trust that, then you're not using any of your brain's power. You're just using what AI tells you on an opinion-based question. Now, do I actually think this is going to be the downfall of humans? No. Most people don't. Some people do, yes. But I genuinely don't think. I think as humans, we'll evolve into it, which is just adapt. We'll adapt with it. Just like we did with Google, just like we did with computers, just like we did with cell phones. It'll become a part of our everyday life. I think it will make us more stupid, yes. And I really think it should be taught how to use AI. Because if you're just going to use it and not think about what it's telling you, you're a moron. And you should be treated like a moron. Okay, but what's the point of all of this, and why did I make a video about this? Because I thought it was interesting. I don't know. Maybe because I wanted to get educated on AI, and I took the time to learn it. You should do that. Take something that you're like questioning and you're interested about and learn about it, and stop just sitting there just doom scrolling on your phone, and take 30 minutes of your day. You have so many minutes in your day. Take 30 of them and just learn something new. That's what I did. That's as simple as that. Yeah, it took me 30 minutes to research and 20 minutes to make this video. That's what you should do sometimes, because it's fun. It's fun to learn things, and you use your brain, and it's not just relying on other people's information. You're going to make your own thoughts and opinions, and that's what my video is about, my thoughts and opinions on what AI is going to become and how it's going to be used. I think it's going to be used hopefully good, hopefully in a good way, probably in a bad way. We're probably going to devolve slightly, but it is what it is. And that's my opinion on it. So if you like the video, like the video. If you're new, just subscribe. More videos like this, more goofy stuff. Yeah, so thanks for watching, everybody.